So when I'm mixing colors, I pull a little bit out. Right? If you dump all of your black into all of your white, you end up with one tone of gray, and then that's not gonna help you. All right. So you want to kind of keep your black and your white good, clean, and not contaminated, we say, and then just pull out what you need. So I'm just going to use my white, and then I'm just going to put a tiny bit of my black in there. All right, and I can kind of keep adding black until I get the gray that I want, but I'm not ruining all of my white paint. All right, move that out of the way. And then I hold my brush like a pencil. Okay, and this is one of the larger brushes because I'm filling in a pretty sizable area, so I'm not worried about like fine details, all right? I do have smaller brushes you can use for edges and things like that. All right, so I'm just starting to fill that in. Now, okay, I'm going to clean my brush. I'm going to dry my brush off, because I don't want extra water in there. All right, and now I'm going to paint a white area. Now you're going to say, like, but the canvas is white. You still need to paint it white. All right, it will just look dirty if you don't do anything. So you want to, paint all the white areas white. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward, that block right there. Something that's going to be a little bit more subtle, something like the pyramid, all right, that I'm going to do kind of in layers. So what I mean by that is I'm going to do kind of a medium gray for my first layer, so I'm going to go back into my original gray that I made. I'm going to paint my pyramid. This is like a cone, like a pyramidal cone that's back here. Your background is going to be flat black. That's going to be easy. Your tabletop will be white with some shading in it, but that'll be mostly white. Okay. Now that's pretty dark compared to what it is at the top. If you look at the top of that cone in the photograph, it has like an area of highlight. So now while the paint is wet, and this is going to be the way that you do your blending, is when your paint is wet. When your paint is wet, you're going to go back in with your white paint and start to create that highlight. All right, you have to do this when the paint is wet. If you do it when it's dry, it's just going to look like a piece of candy corn. It's going to look like striped. All right, and then I clean my brush off. Sometimes you just need a clean brush. You don't even need paint on it. I'm just going to clean my brush off and soften that line. All right, and then I want a little bit still more white up there, so I'm going to keep adding a little bit more until I get to the level of highlight that I'm happy with. All right, and I'm barely kind of touching the canvas. I'm just kind of letting it like skim right over the canvas, right? So I'm happier with that now because I've created that light to dark progression, not 100% smoothly, but I'm like pretty happy with the smoothness of that. All right, same thing for, when you're doing the cylinder, you would do I think it's easier to start with the darker sides first. Do your darker side, somewhere around here, and then go back in with your white. And kind of start to blend that together. And like I said yesterday, if you make a mistake or if there's an area that you are really unhappy with in your painting, just leave it for that day, go work on something else, let it dry, and then the next day when you come in, you can paint over it. All right, that's the great thing about acrylic, is that nothing is forever because everything can be covered up. All right. Background, you're just using your flat black. I had to do 2 coats of black for my background. If you see on here, if you just do 1 coat, it's going to look a little streaky. All right, so you might have to do the background, let it dry, do another coat, the following day or another day. So because you want that really nice, deep dark background. Okay. All right, so that's pretty much, you know, all I wanted to show you in terms of mixing your grays, kind of using the paint. Individually, I'll come around and help you problem solve as you know, things arise on at your work. But we're doing this for the next, you know, like week at least. I mean, this week at least. So we'll kind of see how this all takes us. I think right now I'm saying that this is due on Wednesday, right? So we have like a little over a week to get these done. I'm going to stop that.